That's a tough question, and sadly, I have to say no. But I think being aware of that fact gives me the motivation to do something about it. Lately, I've fallen kind of in the habit of going to work and doing more mundane things with friends, and I really haven't gone out to kick up the dust or change anything. And it's sad reflecting now that I haven't been taking advantage of my ability to change, but that's where I can move on from here. Well, I think one of the biggest things that you have to have is empathy. You have to care. You have to have some kind of motivation to do things. I think they're not so much skills as they are qualities of person. I think you have to be empathetic, you have to care, you have to be assertive. You can't be mellow, you can't sit back, you can't be okay with things are. You have to be dissatisfied with things. You have to be practical. You have to know to do things, you have to be realistic, but you have to be open-minded to the fact that you have the power to change. You have to be a good communicator, because if you can't communicate, you can't convince other people to help up and join, because I don't think you can change alone. I think you have to work to get other people motivated to do things as well. And working together is what really gets things done. You have to have some kind of abilities that you can contribute. As I said before, they're not so much skills as they are qualities of person. And I think you have to have a little bit of that in you before you even go to college. I do believe that me getting involved in different events and different courses has opened my mind, and, actively discussing matters with other students as well. But one thing that I struggle with is how school has changed me to be a critical thinker. How do you define critical thinking? And how do you define even a liberal education? I've learned some of these qualities, but I just can't put a name to it. I can't describe it to you. And I think a big part of it is, one, that the school hasn't taught me necessarily what they mean. And the other hand, I think you have to be open to these thoughts to begin with. You have to be willing to learn. I think so. When I ended high school, I didn't quite know what to do, but I know I wasn't very actively involved in high school, and my parents hadn't motivated me to do anything. And I think that that's a big, big problem with society nowadays, is that people aren't motivated. They're maybe motivated to get an A, to get a good grade, to do a couple things, but you aren't motivated to go out and do good things unless someone's telling you to do them. And if you personally can't strum up a strong enough motivation, I think you need someone outside to knock you upside the head and say, hey, do something about this. And you have the ability to. You can't say, my vote doesn't count, and just not vote and then complain when the person, your party wasn't elected. You have to actually go out and you have to vote. And even if, the person you voted for doesn't get elected, you can at least say, well, I did my part. I think, first of all, students should get outside of the classroom. I think teachers should encourage them to go out, to look at the community, to realize that they can change things. I took a trip to the landfill, and just looking at the landfill was horrifying to me, and it motivated me. And I realized, okay, well, I can reduce some of my footprint. I helped in on a research project, and that was motivating too, because I realized I'm actually providing information that could work to the better of, the people that we're looking at, that we're researching. I think too that teachers need to get students out of the chairs and in front of the classroom and involved in more discussion. I think my role would be more someone who could provide some insights to students, tell them what to look for, what not to do in their education. Just don't screw up, because everyone makes mistakes. But if, older students can share their mistakes with younger students, hopefully the younger students can take advantage of the opportunities they're presented with, and not just let them pass by like some of the opportunities I did.